But now to Count Orlok's castle. We don't bite. Ha ha ha. Welcome, one and all, to another episode of Podcast The Motion Picture. It's me, Reed, with Engin, Cole, and Noah. As always, Jack's not here this week as he did not get a chance to make it to Nosferatu because he lives in the miniature, teeny tiny small town of 10,000, that is Grand Rapids, in which to be different is to be shameful. So they don't like to show cool movies. So they didn't show Nosferatu. Anyway, but we all watch Nosferatu, so that's what we're going to be talking about this week. How's everybody feeling today? Are we feeling alive?
Yes.
Oh yeah, you know it.
Yeah.
Are we feeling vampiric? Are we feeling vamqueeric?
Mm,
All right, so
Noah is.
not a no.
let me go ahead and break down Nosferatu synopsis here. I got it all written down. A recently wed couple are separated when Thomas, the husband, leaves for Count Orlok's castle. There he encounters the vampiric count himself and is chased back to Germany. In his time of absence, his wife, Ellen, Lily Rose Depp, is having nightmares put upon her by the Count. When Thomas comes to Germany on his return, the Count too follows. Now Ellen is faced with pressure from Count Orlok to give in to the shame, while all she truly wants is her new husband, Thomas.
Okay, now read it again in a Nosferatu impression.
Yep.
Couple. Okay. So, for those of you that haven't seen the movie, we got quite a few characters in here. I might break down. I got a whole page going. If you can't see that red font on the screen there.
No.
So you got Ellen, the wife, Lily Rose Depp, the woman in love with her husband, but also ensnared by Count Orlok's strapping good looks. No, his charming demeanor. That is, what, possession, would you call it? What would you say he's doing to her?
Riz?
Riz, I don't know about risen.
Risen her up?
Anyway, all she wants is her life and love for Thomas, but the Count demands her desires for himself. Then you got Thomas, Sir Nicholas Holt, just kidding, he's not a sir, wants a prosperous life for him and Ellen and a future family, but brings back only torment. His leave invites said torment. Count Orlok, Bill Skarsgård, vampiric beast, if you will, not just in the streets, but also in the sheets. The abusive and cruel bohemian lord. He's willing to destroy the world and himself to get to Ellen. Then we got a few more characters here. Professor Albin Ebenhard von Franz. That there is your Wisconsinite William Dafoe. He's wise, he's intelligent, yet he is defrauded due to his capabilities regarding the occult. And then you got Dr. Wilhelm Siever, Ralph Ineson, I think is his name. I wrote it very blurred, and I love this actor. Do you know what I'm talking about? The big guy, the deep voice.
Yep.
I love that guy. I'm happy when he gets work. Anyway, he is a logical man who practices medicine with great discipline until his former mentor, Professor Elbin, that's Willem Dafoe, shows up. And then just a few more here, and then we'll get to the show. You got Mr. Knock, Simon Mc blah, 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 but again, I blurred my writing. Thomas's boss and thrall of Count Orlok. Oh, you've got Friedrich and Anne Harding, Aaron Taylor Johnson, and Emma Corrin. They're patient and friendly. They are good friends of Ellen and Thomas. And then shit hits the fan, and they're a little less neighborly, and they kind of, things go awry. Anyway, what do you guys think of all this? What are we thinking? Is it a good movie? Is it a bad movie?
I'll start.
Thanks.
The movie's awesome.
Yeah.
It's so good. Like this is something that whenever Eggers is the man now, I'd say in Hollywood for just in terms of art and I don't know, just act like writing and drama and pacing and horror. He's the guy. He's the guy I want to see his next movie. I want to see 100 movies made by him. Like he's it. And
Art
this is just
horror,
another.
he's the
Yep.
guy.
I loved it. I would just say I loved it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Noah, I'm guessing Noah went to it by himself. How did you feel?
I liked it a lot. Super glad I saw it in theaters. His visual style is just insane. The movie itself, I'm probably never gonna see it again. If that, it's one of those for me.
Cool.
Which isn't to detract from the movie or anything. It's just, yeah, I had a very singular experience. I enjoyed myself a lot, and I had that experience, and
Do
I will
you
move
have
on from it
do
now.
you feel that way with his other movies?
The Lighthouse, yeah. The
Oh,
Witch I've seen more than once already. The Witch is probably my favorite of his still,
Oh,
and that I think is because if he is a horror director, which he is, like I think that's my favorite horror movie, the one that like creeps me out the most and like sticks with me the most. But I don't know, it's almost just more about the visual style and just the feel of his movies rather than the content. Because like I think Reed, we saw The Northman together. I
no,
think.
no,
No, I saw it with
definitely not.
someone.
Probably
And
Brainerd. Brainerd went to
maybe
that.
it
Yeah, you would
was
not
it you
stop
guys?
talking. Well, I
Yeah.
know you went. I
oh,
know Jack saw because Jack would not stop talking about Alex Skarsgård's
And I remember like
abdominals.
I remember it looking awesome, but I remember nothing about that movie. So yeah, I like Nosferatu a lot. I'll have more to say about it. But definitely the visuals and the cinematography are what like made it really special to me.
yeah.
So
A
I
plus
can't.
plus.
I can't believe you like the Vivitch even more than any
I
of the
do.
other ones. To me,
I
it's
do.
that one's been one I don't know if I'll return to even.
I
No, I
really
Ooh,
like that witch trial era New England feel. I think it's really sick. But
yeah, I think
hmm
that's kind of the popular sentiment though, the witch being people's favorite, and they kind of go back to that. But I just have a similar feeling with his other ones where it's like, okay, I've watched it, that was an experience, but like going through that again, like The Lighthouse, for me
yeah,
at least, like
yeah,
that would be a lot to put myself through. I feel like I should do it at least once more. Um, but again, what are the odds of that actually happening? Probably pretty low.
yeah.
And then with The Witch, I probably didn't have the best just environment and experience watching that one. So I need to give that one a rewatch to actually give it a good go. I'm sure I would
What's your
sure
take
I'm
on
What about
Nosferatu?
Nosferatu?
this is by far is my favorite of his though. I mean, this was a great experience and time watch this. I mean, I was smiling the whole time. I mean,
Hmm.
it was a true horror film for me too, where I'm like, looking through my eyes at stuff. Like, I mean, the first opening scene where,
Yeah.
where we kind of is that the start of the possession and the haunting with her, where she's, you know, asking for, someone in her life and some, true love that can be with her. So, right, guys, she does like ask for this at, at least a little bit, right? I mean, obviously not to
Right.
this extent, but it's kind of hard to grasp at the moment, but then, you kind of look back on that,
It
Yeah,
see
seems
I
like it
implied
did
that
start
she
from
was with,
there.
yeah, it seems implied that she was with him willingly at some point in her past.
well, I think she is. I think that's kind of part of it is that he is like this thing she gave into and she
Right.
wanted
hmm
it. And then it becomes this shame that now she doesn't want anymore. She's trying to get rid
Right.
of it. I'm glad, Angan, you brought that up. I was going to ask first question. I got a bunch of questions. First question, what did you guys think of Count Orlok's reveal at like 30 seconds in? That's quite a
That
left
was,
turn.
that
Set a
was,
great tone.
yeah.
Yeah.
When you could do that right off the bat, I mean, I am locked in now. Like
Yeah.
before the opening title card goes on, you do that to me. I will never forget that.
Yeah.
Whenever I think of this movie, I will never forget that moment where I jumped and yelled "fuck" as loud as I, jumped and yelled it like softly, but I mean,
Yeah.
you could just hear the rustling of everyone around you too, just like, oh my
Yes.
God.
hmm
Yes. No,
And
you could
everyone,
hear a pin drop at like so many points in the theater. That was a really cool part of it.
Hmm. They they a typical traditional way of doing horror is the suspense. You lean it all in the suspense and you don't reveal your baddie till the very end. My God, did they defy gravity in this movie with that? They just did a 180 of what the rules said. And it's not even like they tried it and saw it happen. Like they did it and everything that followed was good. Like they didn't do a screw up. It was not a mistake in any way whatsoever. And I don't know if other movies have it in them to do this. I don't think you can do that with a Halloween, you know?
Do you
But
Mhm.
mean
I
give
don't know.
away the
The villain
the
just showed a
villain right away?
scare. Like that's the scare. They just did it.
But it was so quick, They didn't give it all to you. They just a glimpse, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
Oh, and
that's how I liked it,
and
It wasn't they showed you it, but you didn't get to really,
yeah, yeah. I
really hold on
Yep.
to it that much.
suppose that's probably why it works out so well, is they don't make you sit in it for so long. Yeah.
Mhm. A lot of those quick jump scares are kind of like what they do throughout the film, where it's like that, the loud noise and everything. That just seems like Count Orlok's style, you
Yeah.
know?
That's his
But
Riz coming in.
yep.
Yep.
But that totally set a great tone. Like, it's like eerie at the beginning and it's kind of like ghostly and stuff. And then like it kind of lures you in a little bit and just gets you right there. And it sets a perfect tone for the movie. And I was on the edge of my seat for the rest of it because I was like, okay, when's the next time this creepy thing's gonna happen?
Hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. Looking through my fingers at the super tense parts.
Hmm.
What did you so as we go along in this movie, what did you guys think of, I guess we'll start really technical. What did you think of the lighting in this movie? I know it's not the most fun question. How did they do lighting wise?
That's been like everyone people are talking about though. It's like movies aren't lit well anymore. It's all
Yeah.
like flat and stupid or like too much like saturation or something in edit. It was great. Like this movie looked and felt like, it was someone's vision and that was Eggers. And
Yeah.
I think they nailed it. It was eerie and creepy and Orlok's castle was by far incredibly well like put together and I was always like there's something around a corner here or I thought that was best. Especially remember when like the fireplace and stuff and like
Yeah.
he's hidden under like his shadow and everything. That was
Mhm.
great.
Yeah. I
Well, and
think
even before that, when like the carriage comes up to him and it's just
Mm,
like silently snowing, I was like, oh my God, like I'm getting chills thinking about it. It just looked so eerie and silent and just like you knew that he was screwed.
yeah,
Like,
the
And
eeriness of
mhm.
that was something that, like, as a
yeah,
7-year-old, I would have watched a horror movie and remembered it like that scary. Go back and watch. It's like, it's not that scary, but I'm a grown ass man now. And I saw that and I was like, oh shit, this is bad.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Eggers
I
has a way of
mean,
doing that.
the original, or at least, original movie black and white. So, I mean, you can't complain that it's too dark or there's too much dark or whatever. I mean, it looks fantastic. It uses its shadows appropriately to, you know, darken Orlok and really set that terrifying mood in those particular scenes. But yeah, that whole traveling to Transylvania
Mm,
and Orlok's castle is
I, I,
so cool. He gets on that village in there.
yeah, they're a fun
Ah,
ride. I was nervous, I'll say, the lighting. I was nervous because it starts off so kind of bland and gray, and that's just kind of the world they're in. And then you do the nighttime scenes, and I was nervous because you do nighttime scenes, and then now it's like for some reason people think they can get away with doing the long night technique where everything's just too damn dark to see what's going on. People think they get away with it, and they just can't. This movie, I was scared because we were starting off a little bit dark. I was like, shit, I'm not gonna be able to tell what's going on. By the time you get going, I think for me, some of the best shots are once you're in Germany again and the Count's there and he's showing up in everybody's houses at night. And it's not just like a black and white, like it's almost black and white, but it's like a blue and black that you're getting all this different color. And like it's just blues and blacks and that's about it. And you can
mhm,
tell what's going on. You can see, and it's cold, and yet there's so much light in the scene. It's really well colored. It's
Yeah.
really well lit.
mhm.
And
And
also, oh, I was gonna
There's
say
there's
if I might tack on real quick before we get moving, if I might tack on, the scene after the carriage and before you get to the fireplace at the dinner table. You have the big wide shot where the carriage is pulling up and it's something like out of a storyboard. Like this is something somebody drew by hand just to try to get other people to understand this is what we're looking at. I looked at that and I thought, oh my God, this is an imagination. We're in imagination land of horror movies, like just with this one look. I there were so many things for my eyes to go to, and it wasn't like because there's like bats flying, like it was just like trees, mountains, little castle far away with like one light on. Yeah, gets me going. Anyway, Noah, before you try to interrupt me, what were you saying?
Just wanted to. The shot was in the trailer, but like it hit in the movie when his like shadow hand is just like
Oh yeah.
engulfing the whole like town. Like that is so cool.
Do you?
I got
I
such a kick from that.
I'd have to see it again to be able to tell. Do you think were they just doing? Did they build a big miniature set, or was it all just CGI'd on top of itself?
That feels like that was practical. I don't know
Has to
how.
be.
It
It'd be
feels
way
like a
easier.
miniature. Yeah,
It
but
it felt like a miniature, yeah.
Yeah,
yeah.
it really felt miniature, but yeah. Okay. Next question. The internet's been raving, and I think we're the four gentlemen to decide on this factor. Lily Rose Depp, how was her acting in this? What'd you think? People are making her a meme. I thought she was delightful.
Oh, superb. It was perfect,
Uh,
perfect
I
casting.
yeah.
Hmm.
Originally, like this, he's been thinking of this movie like since before he made The Witch. Like he's been thinking about making this, and he knew he needed more experience and needed more thought, to create it how he really wanted to do it. So originally, it was Anya Taylor-Joy as casted for this, and thank God they switched it because I think this fits way better. I think it was
yeah.
perfect.
Yep. I thought she was great too. And it was Anya
Hmm.
Taylor Joy and Harry Styles was going to be in the Nicholas Holt role.
Ooh,
That would have been
Oh,
awful.
That
that
would
would
have
have been
been
bad.
Nicholas
just
Holt is the
completely
man.
different. He was
he's
a huge standout
he
as well.
was. He
Yeah.
was. I've always thought watching his career, not that I'm some big Nicholas Hoult guy, but anytime he's on screen, I've always been like, I like watching this guy. I can't wait till he like comes into
Yeah.
his own. And time kept going on, and I had been starting to think for a while, that's maybe not going to happen, and he might just not work out. This is it, I think. Like,
This
Yeah.
is the year.
Yep.
yeah,
After this and Juror number two,
Yep.
like
I
he's
just
gonna.
watched that today, actually. Yeah.
yeah, standout guy for him.
Mhm.
I appreciate the sexism I'm getting from you guys answering about Lily Rose Depp with
By
Nicholas Holt. What the
shouting out
hell
Nicholas
just
Holt. Yeah.
happened? Whoa, you can't do that. Oh, no, I can't. No, I think she's great. I guess I don't know
Yeah.
what else to really say. I'm not some actor. I
Well,
can't
she does
judge
a
her.
great job of playing like she's basically like an exorcist character. She's like Reagan
Yeah.
from, and that's like she balances a lot of those scenes of like horror and like terror and like scaring the audience too, with like also her like gentle character nature too. So
Hmm.
it's like kind of like a cool strength that she kind of has. But oh my God, whenever she's screaming, it's so terrifying.
Yeah. That's a great point talking about the horror aspect she brings to it. She's really just an extension of Count Orlok when she's
Hmm.
doing those things. And like she holds up Count Orlok. She extends him. Or he extends her. Like it just they mesh really well. Those two
Hmm.
uh good scene partners, Lily
But
Rose Depp and Count Orlok.
those like people have been like I've been reading a couple tweets. I don't know if this is like a general experience, but like people talk about like going to the theater and seeing like laughing at like Lily Rose Depp's performance as being like cheesy, like and all that. And it's just like you got to take it serious. Like it's serious. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Like
Yeah,
it's
I
not a
I've
silly
differ.
heard.
performance or it's not corny. And
No.
I can't picture thinking or laughing at the scene at any
No.
of her like horror scenes. I think they're too well directed and too well acted. I think they're
A-
corny.
I
Absolutely.
I have heard this being an issue, like people like, yeah, laughing at it. I didn't have any laughs in mind, but I could see like just like the over sexualizing like her moans and groans and everything while she's literally getting possessed by a ancient vampire. So that's unfortunate that that's happening. But I mean, if you're really into the story, you can tell that, how uncomfortable like this is feeling for her and like she's,
Hmm.
obviously getting possessed and how, yeah, uncomfortable that is.
Yeah. I think it's very awful people are doing that. That's a terrible fucking thing. That's a disgusting thing. I think it's a very
Yeah,
detached thing, you know?
it is. It's a
Horrible.
complete unwillingness to just engage with what you're watching. That's crap.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's
It's just
crap.
like
And
no
not,
attention span at all, just or
Yeah,
yeah.
like thoughtfulness to even like consider because it's challenging, you know.
yeah,
Hmm.
When you challenge stupid people, they usually just respond with a stupid way, you know.
Well, they're uncomfortable, so then they're just laughing
right.
because,
Yeah.
they're uncomfortable.
Yeah,
Hmm.
Bitch asses. I don't like that. I don't like that. I don't
But
know. I can't.
it's cool. It's performing really well, though. I think it's his best performing movie, like for sure. And it is really mainstream, I think, in terms of like the story and like just general vibes. Like compare this to The Lighthouse, you know?
right,
Yeah, this
right.
Like
is accessible. This is
like
this is
it's
reachable.
hmm But
And
Yeah.
I
I'm
like
getting
that
memes
it's
about it everywhere too. So,
mhm.
Yeah.
It,
I uh I felt getting done with this movie. I don't want to say I was in like some awe. Like I was like, oh wow, that's the stuff dreams were made of. It was a great movie. I loved it. I felt like I watched something special, and at the same time, it was like, this is just another movie. Not no like just forget about it, but it was like in like the 1980s, people were just going to movies that were like of this quality and going home. And that was their night. They just got to enjoy this shit. And nowadays they're shoving this shit down our fucking throats, not to be Mr. Asperger's, or shoving shit down our throats, trying to tell us, go enjoy this. This was a movie where it was like 2 hours, 12 minutes. I'm in. I'm out. I'm talking about it now. I'm thinking about it. I'll watch it again. And like, it's not going to be something where 30 years down the road, I'm wearing leather cloaks trying to be Count Orlok, making it my whole life. It's just another movie. And yet it's great. It keeps holding on.
well, yeah, it was great, and it's surprising that we have that thought because we don't have those experiences that often. It's like quarterly that we get to go to a theater and like actually enjoy something that really makes you feel something and is really a fun time watching it. So
Hmm.
it's
Or
unfortunate that it seems so rare, but it's like, okay, yeah, that's what I should be feeling after, spending this much money at a movie
yeah,
theater to watch something.
hmm, not walking out with like, God damn it. Damn it, I did it again. Quarterly is a good thing. I'm glad you
yeah.
used that phrase. Quarterly, we're getting a good movie. Um, okay. How about Professor Elbin? That's Willem Dafoe's character. Do we think what are you thinking? I know we all enjoyed him. Nobody
Schnapps?
needs what's that?
That was a great line. That was his best
Schnapps?
line.
Shelves. Um,
Yeah,
was he a little too overpowered? No,
no,
people
he's one
shaking
of
their
my.
heads.
He is unironically my favorite part of the whole movie. Like I was having such a blast watching him do his thing.
Hmm.
That felt like what you're getting at. Like that's a character I'll never forget. Like a 80s or a 90s movie character. Not like Willem Dafoe and Nosferatu is
Yeah.
just a perfect marriage, and it
Hans
was
Gruber and Die Hard. Yeah.
yes,
Hmm.
yes. He did the guy that knows about The Exorcist for no real reason role as good as a person can possibly do that. So
Hmm.
yeah,
I think to extend on that last sentence, Noah, you said he's this guy who knows how to do exorcism stuff with no real reason. I think we're shown the reason in that very last shot. You know what I'm talking about? The Jesus
Hmm.
shot. He's not actually Jesus, but that shot where he's clearly got some form of light that's just attached to him. For those of you that don't know, it's the shot of Willem Dafoe. He's standing looking out the window as the sun's coming up and the sun's beating down on him. And you can see there's a little mirror off to the side in which his face is caught in that. He's carrying a cat. There's just this glow on his face. And I think it's this way of just, of course, obvious as can be, showing that he's just this character of absolute light there that was put there to stop the darkness of Count Orlok. Um, and I think that's a great way of writing in an explanation rather than having somebody come in and be like, Professor Elbin, he's the genius of all this. He's been fighting demons since he was 2 years old. He
He's just
shits
a
crucifixes.
he's just a holistic scientist and doctor. He's not, you know, closed-minded and only on, the current science and teachings of other professors. He's yeah, he's holistic and open-minded to all these
Hmm.
different things, and he's read about this stuff and knows about it, knows it's out there. I'm sure he's traveled all over more than probably other scientists in the time, and knows about this kind of stuff. So
He's the most progressive character in the film.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And
It,
works really well with the doctor character too. I think he's the guy you were mentioning earlier.
Yes.
I'm glad he
Sever,
stayed in the story. Like he
Yeah.
stayed in
me
there. It
too.
wasn't just like they swapped it.
I was
Yeah.
worried they swap it, and I think, yeah, they add to each other very
Yeah.
well.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, there's this, it's a unique conflict because it's this presentation of like logical science versus like the illogical. You know what I mean? Where
Yeah.
it's like you got to look beyond like what you can see is reality, and you got to accept the fact that there's like powers that just are beyond our control. And the way to stop them is you got to go to a crypt and destroy it and like all that. But he's like, you know what I mean? But it's
Yeah.
great drama. It's just like it's great and it's just good conflict, I think. And it just you're just along for the ride too. But you're right. Like he's presented so like holistically and so likable, that you just it's horrible kind of what he tricks Nicholas Holt though at the end.
Yeah, he
So
does.
that they save the world, to save the town, but
Mhm.
you
It's not
know,
like he tricked Ellen though either.
no, he
You
was
Right.
like
know,
flat out.
they
Yeah.
both, came
And
up with
he,
it,
yeah, and he
which
didn't even really tell her, like, you have to do this. He was just like, I know you get it. And she's
She
like,
already knew
yeah,
too.
yeah,
Yep. Yep.
this is something beyond burning down a crypt.
Right.
Like, this is, okay. So that being said, I think we've touched on a thought. Audiences are laughing at things because they can't take things quite as seriously, and they can't take things quite as seriously because we're living in an odd world, and we're talking about this. We're watching a movie about the occult. What did you guys think about getting to watch a horror movie so well grounded in the occult, where there's not necessarily even some perfect explanation? You think about a lot of these different movies. You think about, I just watched one about a month or two ago called Tarot, about tarot cards. And the explanation is like this woman died and attached her soul to these cards. And there's always an explanation. In this movie, there's not really an explanation outside of that Count Orlok is just attached to Ellen out of
Mhm.
shame. It's kind of just this fundamental emotion. There's not this huge thing. She wanted him. There he is. But in the end, he's this big vampiric character that can only be exorcised by, the holiest of things and with the greatest of giving your big sacrifice. What did you think about getting to see a movie that I don't know, I can't think of a movie in a long time that's so based in not a reality sense of things, but in this lack of reality where you're in this fantasy. What'd you think of that? Were you able
you're
to
talking about. It's
attach?
not you're talking about the villain isn't getting explained, like his powers and stuff. Is
Not
that what you're
just
talking
that,
about?
but where this world, it's not a world where we need to understand that we're living in it. A lot of these
Well,
Mhm.
movies,
well,
they
I think that
they
just
Well,
does that just come from the story itself being a fictional fantasy story? You kind of put yourself in
Sure,
that
yeah,
realm
yeah.
already.
Yeah, it does. And it's very realistic. We see a lot of ourselves in these characters, and it's a world you could end up in. But when it comes to there's a vampire out there, and the only way to exorcise him is you got to get Lily Rose Depp on the job. That's not reality. We know that. But when it comes to, I think had the solution changed, had the solution been Nicholas Holt gets to go in there and just burn the body, that's over. I think that would have made things very different. I'm talking about a movie, what we saw here, where the solution is beyond a fire. The solution is beyond picking up a weapon or breaking a Blair Witch sculpture. There's not a solution in the lives of mankind. Like
well,
that's not something. Science can't fix it. It's just this faith-based solution.
It's
yep.
sacrificial.
Yeah.
It's
He
it's
yeah.
like it's like The Exorcist. It's literally The Exorcist.
Yeah.
You know,
No
it's
spoilers now. No spoilers.
for The
I
Exorcist.
haven't seen it. Nobody
You
will
never see
fucking
it.
no one has seen it with me.
You would love it. It's that you're describing literally what's like
I
what the
bet I
film is.
would fucking love it. I bet I better be right up my goddamn
It's
alley.
literally what you're talking about because it's like the one of the conflicts of that movie. Like it's like science and logic versus mysticism, and the answer being, you got to resort to faith. That's literally the movie, dude. You gotta watch it.
Well, I'll take your suggestion. I think I will watch this movie at some point someday.
The Exorcist.
I'll have to give it a look. one for those of you out there listening, stick around, and after we get done talking Nosferatu, I'll explain my frustration and why Cole's absolutely right. I should watch this movie. But yeah, anyway,
I think, yeah, I mean, Eggers made this with so much, religious themes and components inside of it, even being like I'll give you 3 nights to until I
Mm,
come to you or whatever. And even like the light shining on Willem Dafoe at the end as well. But I mean, her sacrificing herself at the end as well, knowing that was necessary. I mean, he made it with lots of religious ideas, and he was very conscious of that. And I think he even quoted himself as being too conscious of those elements while writing and creating it.
hmm, I'm glad that he did. I think it works out for the better. So now, what do we think about a movie in today's world coming out here? How do you feel about seeing a movie in which the sexual shame still has a place with modern films? Do you think that, that worked in this very easily, of course. Do you think that's going to last? Do you think people can keep doing that? Because I feel like there's so many movies out there about just not sexual shame so much, but more of this sexual self-consciousness, if anything, becomes a villain, you know?
I think that's great to explore those themes through a Nosferatu movie,
Mhm.
and because it is such a prevalent part of it. To me, it feels like there's maybe tones of like maybe like cheating or infidelity there too, which
Hmm.
isn't exactly what she did, but there's that scene where they fight, and
Mhm.
Lily Rose Depp has the line where she's like, "You could never please me like he could," like that is like, I mean, that's a line people drop in arguments in the year 2025, like
And what is she
it's
getting at that in that line by that?
because there's a part of her that absolutely is obsessed and loves what she had with Orlok, I think. And
Mhm.
that's where shame comes from because she doesn't want to like it, except that she totally did like it at some point. And it's okay to like things than not like them anymore.
It's it's wild to think of like what they've had before this story took place. Like
Yeah.
there's so much before that we're not privy to. And and those lines especially really kind of blow your mind to really think about what they've been been through together.
Yeah.
Hmm.
It's also like because me, yeah, never mind. I'm not gonna add anything. You guys got it. I had a
Like,
thought and I lost it.
a very supportive man right there.
Thank you,
You
Cole.
guys got it. You
Yep.
got it.
Yeah. I just
But
I don't know. See, I think in a world in which there's so much of this, there's been this giant sexual revolution, and there's so much praise and openness of sex, and so much, I don't want to say pride and have it taken in this thought of, LGBTQ stuff, but a pride in just having this openness towards yourself and being who you want to be sexually. I feel like I feel like it's a storyline that's out the way out the door. And maybe that's just because, a lot of what's being shown today have already been there, done that, and it's kind of moving towards all that. But, I guess to be fair to a lot of common people, people are not there yet. People are still very repressed sexually. It takes a lot to get through those kinds of thoughts for a lot of people. So maybe I'm wrong in that. Maybe we are still there. Maybe this was right on time. What do you say?
I don't know.
I
I think
think
I see what you're getting at, but like maybe Eggers is also saying it's okay to have some limits here, and maybe we've overcorrected a little bit. Like I don't know, but yeah,
The ever chaste Robert Eggers.
yeah, yeah,
Um,
there's
yeah.
definitely sexual elements with him, taking people's lives, like when he's on top of them and is, there's like literally thrusting going on
yeah,
when
yeah,
he's, sucking blood out of somebody.
Big power thing for him. Yeah,
But he does like when he does do that, he does like the chest. He doesn't do like the neck or anything too, which is different than I think, kind of mainstream other vampire stuff
yeah,
too, which is kind of interesting.
for sure.
So
I
it's almost, kind of goes away from that as well.
I feel like they used to do that original neck to add this like sensuality to things. It's a very erotic thing to be biting on someone's neck. So I think to take that out and change it to where you're just biting on the chest, I think it changes the look of Orlok from this person who would be seductor to, he's got you where he wants you, and now he's a beast of a
Yeah.
thing, and he is just
Yeah.
eating from you. I
Yeah.
think it
Hmm.
changes
From
him
your
from.
heart.
Yeah, I think it's this thing that changes. It's already a movie with so much shame and lust going on for Lily Rose Depp. It changes it from he's this person that can like pull you in and woo you to where he doesn't, he's already got her and he doesn't have to woo Nicholas Hoult. He just like gets him and starts chewing of him and is on top of him. And that's what he does. Like there's not a game for him with all that. He gets what he wants because he's this animal and he's to be feared. No. I think it lets the audience see that side of him. Yeah. Rather than get taken for the ride.
When Nicholas Hoult gets that paper cut at that first scene,
Yeah.
and he goes to that face, and he's like, "See, that was wicked." I
I
like that
think
part.
uh I think he would have been okay, honestly. I think Nicholas Hoult would have made it out of there just fine. Like I think he would have been able to go the same day had he not gotten that cut.
Yep.
Really?
Well,
My
yes.
favorite.
I was just
I
gonna
love the.
say, yeah, Count Orlok is like chill, and then suddenly, he's Shaq when he gets the Buffalo Wild Wing going on the hot ones.
I love the part when they. It's like after that scene, they cut to like Lily Rose Depp and like the Hardings on the beach, and she's like, "I hope my love is okay." Hard cut, and he's on the floor,
Yeah.
like dead.
Yeah.
It's so, it's so like funny. Like it is funny.
There are
Yeah.
definitely moments of intentional humor in it too. Like you said the schnapps line earlier. Like
That was
Mhm.
yeah, that was the only time I laughed. I mean the
yeah.
finger thing I was like, freaked out for him. But the
Yeah.
Schnapps one I laughed. I'm like, I
Another
didn't think I would laugh in this movie, but thank you, Willem Dafoe.
another great Willem Dafoe comedic bit is they do that hard cut from he's looking over Lily Rose Depp, and then it cuts and they're in the like parlor room. Well, well, what? I don't know, or whatever his line is. Like it just cuts to him. Well, and they move on.
There's a lot
Um,
of transitions like that in edits in this movie that are like humorous or like intentional like that, and I like it.
hmm,
Like, do you remember the part when he's escaping the Count Orlok's castle and he's getting chased by the wolves, and then he falls into like the river? It's like
hmm.
a Wes Anderson thing where it like pans down like that. Do you notice
Yeah.
that?
Yep.
Yeah, it
That's
is
like the
very
only way
much
I
like
could,
that.
and it's like bad. Like obviously, like you worry about him, but I don't know. It's just a unique way maybe to capture that shot.
Hmm. Yeah, I like it. I like when something's able to use so many traditional techniques and then can just seamlessly change into where they're doing that kind of shot, like you said, Cole. And I know there's a ton of ones just like it where it's like seamlessly that's just thrown in there and we're back to it like nothing happened and we're not trying to do all this fancy stuff. It's just one way of doing things. Um, how did we think about Mr. Knock, if we remember him? Thomas's boss, the thrall of Count Orlok.
I
That shit was. Go ahead now.
He's seen some
I keep
mods.
meaning to mention this. There was a group of three that walked out after the scene, like 10 minutes in, where he's naked on the floor in the pentagram. There
Yeah.
was three people in my auditorium that got up and left and didn't return.
Wow.
So
Wow, that's
It was
awesome.
freaky.
he did his job. That's for sure.
He was great.
Yeah.
What did he bite off? The
The
pigeon?
pigeon.
Yeah.
Holy
Yeah.
shit.
I
Yeah.
heard someone audibly gasped when he was going to go for it in
Yeah.
my theater, and it was
Uh,
awesome. Like just again, that level of engagement is so nice.
Yeah.
Even something as like simple, it's like so simply creepy, you know? If you want to make him creepy, just have him bite pigeons, but it's still like just an eerie image, you know?
Hmm. Yeah, that's the kind of thing about it. So many movies lose their scare factor because they experiment with CGI, and it's fine if you can properly do CGI, but it's a hard thing to get a hand on, and it's really just something to help out, but they lean on it. This is a movie where it was practical as can be. Like I asked about was it a miniature or CGI with the hand creeping over the town? Because other than that, and I suppose the ship, like, what else would really be CGI? Like,
Yeah.
nothing. There's nothing. Can't think of a darn thing.
Yeah, that guy though, I mean,
Yeah.
him what etching shit into his skin and burning stuff on. Was he burning stuff on him? I don't even remember, but
He did
I mean
so
that shit was
good.
so gross. But he played and he what killed that guy in the cell too, didn't he?
Yeah.
Or
Yep.
attacked him at least.
And then he
Yep.
runs out and isn't he like buck ass naked, just
Yeah,
like
down the
pitter
street.
pattering down the cobblestone. He was so good. The tone of his voice, the way he spoke. I had an oopsie daisy thinking he was someone else. I thought that motherfucker was Gary Oldman.
Wow.
That's how
Yeah.
encaptured I was with this random guy. I was like, God dang it. Right away I thought he was just some random guy. To which I thought to myself, this guy's could do a lot. And then I heard him was like, oh, this has just gotta be one of the greatest actors ever. Like that's plain as can be. He wasn't. He's just some random guy. By
I
the
know he's
way,
in other
no.
stuff I've seen before. I just can't think of anything. He's a
He
very unique looking guy.
He's in the very British movie, The Conjuring 2, if you will.
Yeah.
He just
Yep.
does the voice though of the
Yep.
ghost, I think.
That makes sense.
Williamson.
Yep. That makes sense.
Yeah, also stunt doubled for Gary Oldman. Not really. Anyway, um, a shot in the movie, if I may, a big shot, not a big shot, but it was it's one of my favorite ones, and they replicate it. The first time you see it, it's Mr. Knock, and he's on the gondola rowing himself towards the big mansion that Count Orlok's gonna move into. Second time it's replicated. The boys are on it, the doctor, professor, Nicholas Holt, they're rowing their way to go and get rid of, the Count Orlok shit. And anyway, that first shot though, it's pretty gray. The Count, I think, is on his way into town. Mr. Knock is just broken out of his jail cell and it's just this I don't it's all kind of been building and like the cap on it is him rowing in this nighttime sky, pure gray on the cold water with the sides of stone keeping the water in, and you just see up on a hill the big mansion. That was another one of those moments where I'm like the same as the big castle shot that we talked about earlier. This was one of those things for me where I was just like I'm in like this world right now. I'm with these characters and things are going to go very poorly now. I thought things were going poorly. It's going to get worse. Things are going to get a lot worse now.
Yeah, I mean the set designs, I mean, started off
Hmm.
great. Even with Nicholas Holt like going to his work, running through the town, like he was literally running to work
Yeah, yeah.
through all that stuff. I mean, that was just a
Hmm.
great start to it.
It's a great production and just like costume design, and then an attention to detail that you kind of miss on a lot of other like kind of maybe larger films
Yeah.
that just gets brushed aside. But that's just Eggers. That's just his style. Like he's such a nerd for historical detail to like the point of getting like the dialogue time accurate or period accurate, you know? Like, do you even understand anything that like they're saying in the lighthouse?
No.
Like,
Like
no, because it's trying to be like period accurate and like regionally accurate too for like the time. It's like it's just again like another reason why like he's so talented. And like every announcement, like he's doing like a night movie about like a night and like a Western, I think is like maybe like rumored is that he's working on right now.
that's awesome. And I know there was an interview where he said like he had to give Nosferatu the mustache because like any Eastern European in that time period like absolutely would have had a mustache. So it was like never in his mind as a possibility to not include that. Like it matters to him to craft that
Hmm.
stuff.
I'm glad they
It
did.
looked great.
It's memorable, yeah, to have
Yeah.
him not have that. It just would have been big bald Bill Skarsgård.
How did you think about his voice? Did you guys like it? Did you
Oh,
not like how
I think
like
it
difficult it was
makes
to hear him
yeah,
sometimes?
it makes the character like the booming. It feels like in Deathly Hallows where Voldemort's like, "Take care of your dead," and it just like pierces everyone's ears. Like that's just how he sounded all the time to me. Like his
Hmm.
voice was so cool. Like the defining part of the character, I thought.
Yeah. I'd say I don't know if I would call it the defining thing. It's definitely like, I would not have liked Count Orlok as much without it. Um, I think it adds to the power that he brings to the table. If he had some just normal, David Prowse level random British voice added onto this big character scary, wouldn't have worked out. But yeah, this is definitely like a nice bow that keeps it together.
I'll be
Now
curious to see how it feels out of an auditorium too, because it was
mhm.
so cool in the theater.
Mhm.
Hmm.
I'm more with Noah where it was like this is making it for me. Like this sounds
Yeah.
so scary, this is so powerful. I mean his cadence with everything that he spoke with was so interesting.
Yes, he did. The cadence is a good thing, not just the sound or the volume, but the way. Yeah, you're right about that for
Yeah, the
sure.
cadence. Yeah.
I don't know about
Is
you
this movie
guys.
eligible for like award season?
I think they'll
I
probably
don't know,
make
actually.
it
I mean it'll be
eligible.
eligible for some, not for this year probably.
Would it be for next year's? That's I
I
mean,
don't
that means there's no chance it gets anything.
They'd have
yeah,
to do
I
a
mean
Yeah.
re-release, which you
Yeah.
could. What I
I
think a
don't
movie just got a re-release. What's The Substance maybe set for re-release? I don't know what it was. Anyway, doesn't matter. Um,
Because I would give it everything for like screenplay and then like production design and sound design. Like deserves all of that.
Yeah.
yeah, this is a movie where
uh,
everybody in every department seemed to give it their all, and it worked very well. You know, yeah.
hey, I mean, it all comes from the guy up top and what his standard is like and what he expects from his crew. I mean, I'm sure he has these production companies, tied to him now, so they're only going to get better
Yeah. And
with the stuff they're doing.
that's a good thing. I feel like a lot of people don't really understand it that when it comes to making a movie, like you have like your go-to people for things, but like who they might be able to bring to the table may be very different the next time. They might put together a different crew. You might have people who come just for a couple days. So it's to me it's always been kind of depending on where you're at. Sometimes, of course, yeah, you get good studio things going. You get Disney going. You get these teams that are, set in stone. I'm very glad Robert Eggers is at a point where he's very likely going to get to have people like a usual suspects list and just keep getting to use them. So it's not this ragtag bunch of individuals just honing their craft. Like I think we're in a golden age for this fella, if I may be so daring after seeing Nosferatu.
Actually, since this was released on Christmas, I do think this is eligible for this year's awards,
Nice.
but I don't think it's going to do anything though,
No,
unfortunately.
it's just too like
That's
mainstream.
Wicked is going to get everything.
That's mainstream.
Yeah. I mean, the Oscars is trying to push mainstream, but horror never gets any love. It just doesn't.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
I'll be
Dune 2 is not for the BAFTAs. It is not nominated for Best Picture, but Wicked is.
I'll be holding space for Wicked. Um, what did you guys think of the big shot? Nicholas Holt breaks into the coffin of Count Orlok, and we see naked Count Orlok in full. Did you guys like that?
You're kind of breaking up.
Yeah,
I didn't hear
sorry.
you.
Yeah.
Am I
He's
okay?
asking what you thought of Naked Count Orlok.
Thanks,
Oh,
Kofro.
I mean,
I heard you read.
yeah.
Nobody speak up at
It was
once.
creepy. That scene scared the shit out of me because you didn't like. I thought he was gonna hit him with the axe, and he was alive.
Yeah,
So, what happens if the curtains were drawn? Couldn't.
yeah, he would have.
They'd be fucked.
He'd be all over. The movie be done.
Yeah.
I felt like I had a couple questions, as in literally just two, but I'm dropping one of them. I guess I'll go with my go-to question. This is a big question. Was Count Orlok a redeemable character?
Broke up again. Sorry.
No, come
Did you say
on.
something?
Yes, I said something. Can you hear me? My Wi-Fi, my
I can hear
internet
you now.
connection's going bad. You can't hear me
Hmm.
now? Okay, here's the big question. I'll ask it. All right, big question. Was Count Orlok a redeemable character?
No, he's pure
No,
evil.
Okay, good. I'm glad you heard it. No, you don't think he's redeemable? The guy forcing himself
he's
on Lily
pure
Rose
evil.
Depp. Yeah.
Yeah. The kids thing wasn't cool either.
Nope.
No, never
Yeah.
is. Bill
The
Skarsgård
poor
again.
Hardings, man.
Yeah.
Hardings
Yeah.
just got the worst, kind of the worst end of
It,
this
it reminded me
almost.
of that family in Logan where like X-23 comes in and just destroys that poor family that like took in Logan and Laura. That's what it reminded me of a little bit.
Yeah. You said it, dude.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I mean, that's all the questions I've got written down for Nosferatu. Does
How
anybody have?
about the Hardings? What'd you think of Aaron Taylor Johnson in his role?
I just
I
thought it was nice to see him again. I don't know the last time I've seen him in anything, so
He
for
was
me
in the Fall
poetry.
Guy.
didn't see that. So yeah,
Um,
What is he in? I've heard the name.
he's
I know him, but
Quicksilver.
Aaron Taylor
no
Johnson.
way. That's
Yeah,
really that's awesome.
Yeah.
and he was in the
I
Yeah, that guy.
Godzilla with Bryan Cranston. I
Yeah,
remember.
he's really good in that. I love seeing that guy pop into things. He's
Yeah.
really good in this. He was a delight. The writing of that character was good as well as his wife too. Um, the both of them, they do a very good job of not oversaturating what the two of them get to do. Like they have plenty, off screen going on, and when
Hmm.
they're on screen, like they bite up a good chunk of the scene. They're good at it, especially Aaron Taylor Johnson. Um, yeah, he too brings a bit of a warmth, I suppose. More of a
Well,
sturdiness, I'll say.
and he's like the most reluctant on going, like what you were talking about earlier about uh believing in the, you
Cult.
know,
Hmm.
he was the last to believe in something non-worldly.
Yeah, and it
Um,
was already too late
I
by the
love
end.
it. I love it. I'm in love with this movie, you guys. And you're right on those
His
matters.
costumes are awesome too. Like you could just
Oh yeah.
tell I mean, his wealth just by his clothes. I mean, he was having more color, more pattern. And then Nicholas Holt was just in, just dark colored, less changes in his outfits.
Hmm.
Does this movie make you want to watch the original Nosferatu from 1922?
Because it does. Not because I'm like, okay, it's going to be just as good or I'm going to be just as scared, but I do because I'm very curious. Like, how do we get this from that? Like,
Yeah, I
How did
agree
he
with
get
that.
inspired from it?
yeah.
Yep, I'm definitely more curious than I would have been. So
Hmm.
And I
Uh,
want to see what their effects are like.
I saw
For a 100-year-old movie, yeah.
I saw a clip of I think it's Count Orlok and Nosferatu, the original one, taking his big wooden coffin and running it into the mansion, like carrying it inside. I'll have to send it to you guys. And I don't think it's gonna be a very scary movie, but again, I'm just I'd love to be able to see it and just have some thoughts. Because yeah.
we could
Because
mention Eggers and Skarsgård both seem annoyed when people bring up the SpongeBob appearance to them, and that bothers me a little bit because like dude, that's why we know who that is. That's I
oh yeah.
mean really like it pisses me off that they aren't a little more accepting of it maybe, but
Oh, I
whatever.
think it's funny.
Skarsgård
Yeah.
is a Scandinavian as shit, and
They're not
Eggers
90s
is.
babies.
Yeah, they don't get it. They
They
don't
don't get it.
understand
They
it.
don't. And that's
That would
Yeah.
okay.
that would
But
be like if I can't even think of a show that would do it, but like that's like if Bluey did a Obi-Wan Kenobi reference, and then in the
right.
future Ewan McGregor reprised Obi-Wan Kenobi, and the kids were like, "Oh my God, it's the guy from Bluey."
Right.
We'd be
Right.
pissed. Like I get it.
Yeah. I get
Yeah,
it too, but as someone that the SpongeBob episode matters a great deal to me. I can't
it
help
does.
but
You think that I don't know. I don't know. I get immediately being upset. But they should have realized after like the third minute of everybody saying the guy from SpongeBob, they'd be like, all right, we've
yeah.
stepped our foot into this,
Yeah.
this is not on them. Yeah.
They're artists. They don't want their art to be
Yep.
tarnished,
Yep.
clearly.
Yeah. They don't want it affected by SpongeBob. Um, I almost went to this movie a second time on Tuesday, just to let you guys know. Like Maddie and I almost went again. I was in full support just to get to see it.
Yep.
I'll probably watch it again when it comes out to streaming. There's probably detail or just like things you just kind of miss, maybe.
Yeah.
I'd love
And
to break it down again in my own mind. You're right.
it probably isn't as rewarding as like I in my opinion, The Lighthouse is my favorite of his films. And I think that movie rewards on multiple viewings just because it's so like there's so many deep like themes and visuals and stuff, and the performances are the best in my opinion. So I wonder if this movie has like the same effect.
Hmm. I I like hearing that everybody's kind of got their own favorite one of these. You know what I'll
Yeah.
say?
Yeah.
Did he do The Green Knight?
No,
No, but
No.
feels a little similar.
It
Yeah.
does feel a
yeah,
little
like
similar.
kind of tonally.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I feel like I'm never really sure on what movies are his or not,
And
you know.
am I wrong about
He
this?
has four
Is the
movies.
doctor guy the
Yeah, he's from The Witch.
He's in The
well, I
Witch.
know he's from The Witch.
He
Is
is the
he in the
Green
Green
Knight.
Knight
He
too?
is the Green Knight in
He's
it,
the guy.
yeah.
Yeah, okay. Yep.
Um, yeah. What are his four movies? The Witch, The Lighthouse, Nosferatu. What's the fourth one?
The Northman.
Northman.
The Northman. Yeah, yeah. God, I hope he does a lot more. He's good
He's
at
got
these.
he's writing a movie about a knight, apparently.
He could
Like
he,
early like Christianity, like Crusades is like the rumor.
Crusades.
Yeah,
What if he
no.
cast Daniel Radcliffe?
Yeah. I'd love to watch it. I will say this is my favorite of his movies then. I like his of course I like everything about this movie, like I said, but I like how accessible this one is. The Lighthouse and the Village are very much more of like you kind of got to be ready to step into a strange place. And this is a world where it's a strange place, but like, you can get into it a little bit
People
more.
have heard of the story before,
Yeah.
but it's still, not super, it's not still not super accessible or mainstream for someone
Not
to
yeah.
get
Well, I'm
into it.
just
You know what
saying,
I
do
mean?
I
It's
Yeah.
want to
still
go
super
just
artsy.
do I want to go to the frontier in the 1600s? Not really. Do I want to go to a lighthouse on a rock with two guys who are constantly farting? Not really. Do I
It's
want to go to
awesome.
Germany? Yes, I'd like to go to Germany.
I will say I had two friends commit to going to this movie with me, watch the trailer and say no, never mind. So it is more accessible than some of his other stuff, but man, there's still people that are like not ready for this. So
Oh, they need their Marvel shit, man.
yeah.
Yeah,
I
that they do. Um, did we end up deciding on a movie for next week? Whiplash, right? We're doing
think
Whiplash
so.
next week.
I'm gonna
Yeah.
watch
Yeah,
Whiplash for the first time.
good for
Crazy.
you.
That is
Good for
wild.
you.
I've seen it
Yeah.
Never seen it.
twice.
I've seen it 15 times. It's one of my favorite movies ever.
Is there hey, Cole, the guy I think who plays Hank from Twin Peaks, I think is in Whiplash for a scene. I'm thinking about
No
it just
way.
now. I was looking at that guy's credits and he's in that. I think no, the scene I'm talking about in which Miles Teller's at like the family dinner with like his dad and uncle or whoever.
Sure.
I think he's one of the guys in that
Okay.
scene. One of
Yep.
the like uncle or maybe I don't think he's the dad, but anyway.
The dad is Paul Reiser.
Yeah, who's Paul Reiser? Why is that name so darn familiar?
He's in a bunch of 80s movies like Beverly Hills Cop and Aliens, and then he's also in Stranger Things.
He's the dickhead in Aliens, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. He's
In
the
Stranger Things, he's like the corporate guy that ends up being good, not bad.
role reversal.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know
Yeah.
this guy's face. Okay. Yeah, I know this guy's face. Okay. So I promised everybody who was listening I'd tell the tale of why I got pissed at The Exorcist mentioning it. So I met Noah at one point in life, and we watch movies. We all watch movies, but Noah and we had we like movies. And going to ICC, it was just he and I and David Burt and Ben Allman were just about it, really, as far as friends go. And I mean, I guess us and Ben were, I guess me and Ben have never been too close, and me and David also not as close. We got a little closer. Anyway, Noah and I are talking about what movies he and I can watch we've never seen. One of them is The Exorcist. A movie I brought up as I didn't watch it as a kid because it was always like seemed like a Halloween thing to me, where it's like Halloween to me as I'm wearing my Halloween shirt here is just such a special thing to Noah as well. That's where we kind of clicked on the horror movies. And he'd never seen Exorcist. I'd never seen Exorcist. We were just casually going about watching all these movies we'd never seen. And we're like, yeah, we'll hold up and wait on The Exorcist. And I'm hanging out with Noah. I'm like, want to watch The Exorcist? And he says, yeah, I watched it by myself. And he just fucking did that. He just did that shit with no explanation, no reasoning. I didn't do anything to make him hate me. I don't know why he hated me. And and then, I thought, God damn it, I guess I'll wait. And it's like I can't really find another moment, like maybe at some point. And then, Cole, you and Noah watched the fucking Exorcist together.
Yes, we
And
did.
in
Yeah.
my fucking house,
Yeah,
in
we
my
did.
fucking living room,
Yeah.
and I'm not even there.
Yeah.
So
Dude, you knew we were gonna do that. You decided to go out.
That's true. That's true. But
That
everything,
was
yeah, no
What did you
you
lies
might
do
are
not
that
being
night?
told here.
I'm not gonna even like I don't even feel sorry. That was the most perfect viewing experience because it was freezing cold in that
Yeah.
house.
Yep.
And the
Yeah.
lights were off. I was terrible. It was so
Yep.
perfect.
And I'll never forget, like, Bauman stopped by to grab something and he, like, pounded
Yes.
on the door. And I, like, sprung up from my chair. I was like, what the fuck?
It
Yeah.
was perfect. It was
Terrifying.
the most you missed out on the most perfect viewing read.
I bet
To
I
be
did.
honest, I've seen it a third time since then, too.
You're, you're actually the worst person I've
Yeah.
ever met.
Yeah. I've
Oh
seen
my
it 3 times.
God. I don't know why you bring it up like it doesn't actually affect me. I don't
I
know
know.
why you do this.
I know.
Like this is, oh my God, dude. This
Yeah.
hurts. This hurts. This is, oh,
Maybe we can make that an episode coming up here.
maybe how
Mm.
creative of you, how solution oriented you are today, Noah. You're such a rat. You're a rat bastard, Charlie Brown. Okay. Well, I suppose we can wrap it up with that. I'm glad you got to watch it. Cole, that actually does sound delightful, and that makes me kind of happy with the second one that you guys got to enjoy it like that. That is good. The first one, though, I question. I question how good that setup was. All right, but we'll be done. We'll call it a day. Thanks for listening, everybody. Go watch Robert Eggers, the up and coming director. He's pretty darn good. Yeah, Robert Eggers, Nosferatu. Bye. See you next week. Thanks for listening. Take care. Ta ta. See ya.